Welcome to It's On Talk Show, and today's show topic is Let's Stay Alive and Stop the Killing. I have a panel here of people that are concerned, that love you, and they are troubled in their spirits because of what's going on in today's society. We have here today a special group from the Moms Organization and the president, Ms. Daphne.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm doing a little good today. Thanks for asking.
I'm so glad to have this opportunity. I've been wanting to do an interview with your organization because I know you all have so much pain.
Yes.
And you hurt so much.
Yes.
And your cry hasn't been heard a lot.
Yes.
I've heard you some, but we want everybody to know your concerns and your cares because of the murders. And the murders must stop.
Yes. The murders have to stop. I'm a mother of a son who was murdered back in 2008 in Harford County, Maryland. And it's been July the 14th, 2008. And from that day on, it has been a life-changing experience for me. And, of course, my family and my community. This senseless violence is overwhelming. It's overwhelming to your spirit, your well-being, your health. Everything that your life has stood for, it overtakes it. At times, you don't really have any control over it. But time has passed, and I've learned to live with it. I don't live without it. I've learned to live with it. In my pain, I try to help keep some other moms from having to go through this pain. It's a pain that it's undescribable.
Wow.
It's, you wake up with it, you go to bed. I got almost 9 years, and it's like, some days I jump up and it's like it just happened. It may come to me in a dream, or I may be driving, or
Really?
and that thing it'll hit you like something smack you up against. I have to pull my car over sometimes. I go to where I just scream. I have days where it's so raw, just coming through my body.
Wow.
It's so much more than just the shooting of the gun. It's so much more than the death. It's all that comes behind the death that's so traumatizing.
I hear you, and I must say, you probably had the bodacious gall to forgive the killer. Not yet?
God's been speaking to my spirit about that, but I'm going to be very real. When you first get that news, I mean, like the first week, we go to the funeral and all that. You don't think about that. You just think about making funeral arrangements. But when you get that lonely time, when everybody goes home, the pastor go home, the lights go out, the friends go, you get that lonely time and you like, what am I supposed to do with my life from here?
Wow.
And then that takes a little place, and then you go to the angerness, and then you go to, oh no.
Wow.
Who killed my child? He has to die the same way.
Wow.
I mean, in the street, I'm not like asking people, who killed my son? I got a few dollars. I mean, I need this taken care of. I need to fulfill this.
Right, and you've never killed nobody.
No,
that's not your character.
No.
But you see the pain that the people that does these murders put on the mothers.
Yes.
I mean, they cause the mothers to experience those thoughts that she's had. And I'll be honest that those thoughts are not good thoughts.
They're not good thoughts.
And I would pray and I would ask that and hope that someday you would forgive.
Yes.
Because forgiveness it's powerful.
Yes.
And that will free your mind.
Right.
Although you have the pain, I do understand. Because I never had a child murdered, so I don't know how you really feel.
Right.
But I'm going to say forgiveness is powerful. And I pray that one day God will strengthen you, because I know you're a godly woman, and I'm sure you question God all the time.
Yes.
But I pray that He will give you peace in the midst of this storm.
Yes.
Because it's tough. But I was about to say, most people forgive, and then the murderers, you all weep sovereignly for what you've done after being forgiven even by the parents. So nobody wins.
Right.
This is a no-win situation. So I would ask that you all would conduct yourselves in more of a manly manner. I often tell my sons, don't be a emotional thinker, be a critical thinker. Right. If something's going on, think before you do an act.
Yes.
Because the very act you do may have some serious consequences. I'll get back to you in a minute.
Okay.
Dr. Humphrey, how you doing, sir?
How you doing, Brother Holmes?
Dr. Humphrey, we are so gracious to be here today dealing with this topic. This is something you deal with all the time,
Yes, sir.
trauma. And could you give a analysis to the audience of what you actually do in the just trauma world?
Well, basically, as Sister Austin said, people don't really understand how trauma affects people until it hit home.
Yes.
I had a son murdered, not by a gang member or somebody in the street, but by his stepfather.
And I want to show you a picture of his son next to Papa George Bush, the President of the United States. This
Yeah.
was an honorable and decent young man. But go ahead and continue.
I was so proud, to tell people that I had a 23-year-old son that was a Secret Service for the President of the United States. You can't be no prouder than that.
That's right, I'm sure.
And when it happened, I just felt a certain kind of way dealing with law enforcement, because I didn't understand that, when something happens, people always lump everybody in one category. But when I met Dr. Leaf and Dr. Jacqueline Duval Harvey and Lieutenant Colonel Rick Height, I took the training. Somebody said, you should have gotten some help.
That's right.
Some professional help. And I told them, God is my professional help. But the only way you can really function and get through this is you have to tell your story. And that you never really get over it.
Yeah, I understand.
You don't get over it. And I had the opportunity. I was one of the facilitators, and I'm one of the longest community faith-based leader that was with this program when it started with Dr. Leaf and the rest. And in 2009, the original name was the Child Development Community Policing Program, which my good friend, Major Tab Harper, she took that training.
Okay.
And I'm not going to let it get away this time, because we all can make a difference.
That's right. I'm going to pause you for 1 second. We all are coming together because this community must be strong. And where there's unity, there is strength. So we want you and everyone, churches and the mosques to come together. I often say your children should either be in church or mosque to have some sort of training and discipline. And then you won't hear about these acts much, because they'll have something on their minds positive. But go ahead, I wanted to say that.
But Brother Holmes, you said it, and I often share with Sister Daphne. I became a part of Moms because I believe in what she's doing. And if I could help somebody along the way, then my living is not in vain.
Amen.
But people that murder people, and I'm not going to make a general statement, but people are angry. And you can't give somebody something they never had.
True, right?
A lot of people who kills people, they don't, there's no discipline, there's no conflict resolution, there's no way to resolve when they have issues. So the only outlet they have is to pull a gun and take somebody's life. And as strange as it might sound, when I was a younger man, when I used to watch TV, I thought that life was like it was on TV.
Yeah.
When the man gets shot, the Cowboys or whatever.
They get up.
Yeah, they get up.
Yeah.
But it's real.
Yeah.
And when you take a life, something that you didn't give, you can't give it back. And there's so much anger in this world, so much hatred. And until the word get out, and like yourself, Brother Holmes, I commend you for getting the story out.
Yes,
This panel, God don't need a whole lot of people.
No,
He just
no.
need the right people.
That's right,
To make
that's
a change. And we can make a change. We can make a difference. Because when I called on this panel, they didn't say, well, I don't know. They here.
Dr. Humphrey,
Yes, sir.
I believe some young man is looking at this show right now that is about to go out and do something wrong with a gun, possibly to murder someone. Could you talk to that young man?
Yes, sir. I want to share with you is that there's consequences for your actions. And, think about what you're going to do, because that quick decision can cause you the rest of your, to spend time in prison the rest of your life.
That's right.
And, saying you sorry, and I heard you talk about forgiveness. I had a deep hatred in my heart, and I'll say it until I begin to understand, for law enforcement, because all I felt is that they killed my son. But then when God gives you that spirit of forgiveness, you have to look at the individual.
That's right.
Police officers are regular people just like us. They have families. At the end of the day, they want to go home.
That's right.
But a lot of young people that's in prison for crazy stuff. You know, I mean, I used to buy one time. They came from a broken home. They was poor. It doesn't make a difference because, you know, even as the word say, train up a child in the way it should go, and when they get older, they shall not depart from that way. So a lot of it, and I'm not playing the blame game, but a lot of it, I fought our adults. I fought the older people instead of helping our young people.
Yeah.
They encourage them to do the wrong thing because they know as juveniles they can get away with it.
Right. So true. Okay. Hey, Doc, how you doing today? How are you?
I'm doing fine. Okay.
You want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Yes, I'm Phil Leaf. I'm a professor over at Johns Hopkins, and in the School of Public Health, and work with adolescents and also violence prevention.
Okay. So, what do you all go into the schools?
Work in the school. I'll do a lot of work with people in the community. When I first came here, I came here because I was really excited about things people in the community were doing, and put together a program where children wouldn't have to go to homes and pulled out of school if they had mental health problems.
Okay.
And with the first 200 we were working with, 3 of the children got shot.
Wow.
And luckily none of them died, but you know, we put together support programs and then sort of started thinking about, well, I got to get together with people in the community, and we need to figure out how we not get people shot. It's nice to have support services after it happens, but we got to get in front of the curve. And so for the last 25 years, I've been working with community programs, whether it's with schools or with ex-offenders or other programs. We came up with the funds for Park Heights for the Safe Street programs over there. So we were paying for that for a while. But it really is coming in together with how do we each bring what we can to help, you know, change things and support people. As people say, you know, it's hurt people hurt people.
Absolutely.
And they're hurting for lots of different reasons, and none of us individually have the solution. And I think, again, the people sitting around this semicircle here, we all have a part of the solution, and we're all trying to come together to figure out how do we take what we can do and then make it to be part of the whole, and work with the folks and support the mothers, but also support the young people.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And it's great to hear that Johns Hopkins is concerned about the community. So you have so many interests in the communities. They want to help. They're here. They want to support you to do the right things. And you've got to take advantage of that. And I want to, this young lady beside me, can you tell all that you do and why you care?
Sabrina Tab Harper. I'm a major with the Baltimore City Sheriff's Office, but I'm retired from Baltimore City Police Department. I was a major there I retired after 26 years.
Wow, you've seen a lot.
Yes, I have. And I went through the training program, and an interesting thing happened. I had a son who was 10 years old. And he was working, I don't know if Dr. Leaf will remember this. He was about 10 years old. He was working at a snowball stand at the church on Monument Street. And a shooting happens while he's handing a guy a snowball.
Wow. And
the guy who he's handing the snowball is a shooting victim. So the bullet grazes the guy in the back of the head, and it goes right directly next to my son. And it's actually a hole that's about this big in the glass of the church. It just misses my son.
Wow. He
so
was
my
blessed.
son, right, he takes off running. So he runs inside of the church. The victim runs behind him. The bad guy runs behind the victim. So the bad guy continues to fire shots into the church.
Wow.
And the glass breaks as a result of the bullets. My son has a permanent mark on the back of his leg from running away. And so he ends up running and then hitting the floor and rolling under the pews in the church. And then by the time law enforcement gets there, because my son reports that he can see the bad guy walking back and forth looking for the victim, because the victim hides someplace too. He's walking back and forth looking for the victim. But when law enforcement finally gets there, they find my son like in the corner hiding. But thank God he wasn't hurt bad.
Yes.
You know, it just has a little scar that's permanent though. So he remembers this incident.
I'm sure.
And
and
he'll
I'm
never
sure
forget it.
traumatic for him.
Right. He doesn't really talk for like 3 days. So you can imagine how traumatic that incident was. And the victim ends up surviving as well. But I had went through this training, but I really didn't think that the incident would hit me. And that way, I was a lieutenant at the time. And I get the phone call, you know, that my son, you know, I'm thinking he's at the church and, you know, that, you know, he's at a pretty safe place.
Yeah, safe haven, yes.
In East Baltimore. So, you know, it's pretty shocking to me when I get this call. And, you know, so it doesn't really matter, you know, what your place may be or, you know, where you may work. These issues can touch you wherever you might be. I just think, right. Well, I felt pretty helpless at the time.
Wow.
And I just really kept my eye on him. And, you know, he really displayed a lot of the things that we learned in the training, like not talking for 3 days. Right. It was, I tell you, it was just something else. It really was earth-shattering. Wow. I thank God that he kept a hedge of protection around him. He'll be 27 tomorrow.
Wow. Good,
So, you know, he's kept him safe all these years, and he's doing really well.
It's good to hear.
But
Would you like to see the training take back place?
absolutely. And like I talked to you earlier, I'd like to see some of the deputies at the sheriff's office go through the training. I know how valuable it can be. And a lot of times I don't think that it's so important for those of us, particularly in leadership. A lot of the things that I learned helped me to help the people that work for me still now. A few days ago, I had two deputies who were out serving protective orders. And the person that they were going to serve, they never made contact with the person, but while they were walking away, that person committed suicide.
Wow.
So, you know, you talk about this trauma, there's a vicarious trauma that happens to those of us, the first responders. A lot of the things that we learned in the training helped me as a leader to help the people who work for me. As well as myself, to deal with some of the things that we deal with day to day. You know, that's so important to keep us healthy. Not, you know, we a lot of times talk about our physical health, but our mental health.
Yeah. And excuse me, you got to be real that mental health, like Doctor said, is a serious issue nowadays. Yes. So, Doc, what's happening? What are you doing with as a result of the mental health?
Well, I think a lot of the entities in the city are trying to become more trauma informed and trauma responsive. I mean, the first responders, they're exposed to this all the time. The mothers. I mean, I live in Baltimore City. If you live and work in Baltimore City, you know, it may not be your immediate family, but the people that you're working with have had these losses, and how to respond and support them. But also, how do we set up a school? Because somebody who's coming into that school, his cousin, brother, somebody got shot, the other children that are in there, the teachers are needing to deal with this. It's sort of all of us. And, you know, that you can't expect everybody who comes into school in the morning, nothing happened that night.
Wow.
Not that it happens to everybody. And so Dr. Santalisa, the school's CEO,
Yes.
is very much working to try to make sure that her schools are safe places to begin with, but also when the kids come in the morning, there's ways of dealing with the kids, making sure that they're getting their act together so they're ready to learn. Because it may not, well, when we're having a shooting every day, that means somebody in Baltimore City lost somebody.
That's right.
And it's actually a murder every day. It's not even a shooting every day. So there's many more shootings. And so all of our institutions need to recognize that the people that are living here are affected by it. Whether it's the clergy, I mean, the clergy are often the first responders. And I know a lot of clergy that, that we were just talking before, the funeral directors don't want to be burying these people anymore. Well, the clergy.
Well, Doc, March Funeral Home has a figurine out there, like a statue. It says, "Please stop the killing." Now, this is a funeral home telling your people out here to please stop the killing. They don't want your business. They're tired of burying young people. Come on, think about a funeral home is saying, "Please stop the killing." There's another funeral director, Carlton Douglas. He's been on this for years. "Please stop the killing. We don't want the business." Come on now, you've got to realize people don't want that funeral business of young people. They want young people to live and thrive. Right. Now, as Doc said, there are mental issues and with the murders every day, of course, it affects family members. So children have to de-escalate down just to learn. Can you respond to that, Doc?
And they need to have safe places. For many of it, it's the school. It's our faith communities that are often the first responders. It's the neighborhoods. But in many of our neighborhoods, children have less exposure to adults anymore any time in our history because the parents are working. People have to go a long way in Baltimore City. We have the second longest commute, second only to Los Angeles, to get to a job.
Yeah.
Well, that means their parents, their aunts and uncles aren't around during the day. They may come back at night and they're pretty tired. So it's sort of, how do we have the after-school program? I mean, we just all need to make sure that we're working, trying to provide supports, whether they're our employees or our neighbors or people that we're going to church or synagogue or mosque with, that we're all trying to support each other because, we're only a couple of incidents away from being personally affected.
That's true. I'd like to speak to Daphne. We talked before, and you mentioned something about children being in third grade. Could you explore that with us here?
Well, basically, all the learning that we do is from the womb, basically to age 5, 8 years old. Everything after that, we absorb information. We take information in. So in other words, so if junk is going in, then junk is coming out. To break it down that way, and this has become a cultural effect in our communities. And the only one being affected by it are the youth, and they grow up and they repeat what they see over and over and over because they think it's normal behavior. So a lot of these young men and women out here that's involved in this crime and homicide, they're just copying what they see. They think it's okay. They don't see nothing wrong with it.
Right, because they don't see the prison time, the things that go on in jail for years and years and years.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with basically the criminal justice system because there's nobody being put away for these crimes and these murders, and that's because you have the community who will not talk. They're probably afraid to talk. They don't have a relationship with the police anymore, so there's no justice going on in our community. So now there's no new crime in Baltimore. It's just people are taking law into their own hands now, and they want to take care of their loved ones' murder or, cause like he said, hurt people hurt other people. And I try not to blame it on the children because, again, what has society allowed? What do we see in society? It's not good. Every movie, every TV, every video is crime and violence over. I have to turn. I'm 58 years old. I have to turn some TV stuff off sometime when I'm watching myself because I don't want to put that in my spirit. And I'm like, so you got your children watching this stuff, and they think it's okay to do. So we have to start at a young age and talk to them about not being involved in crime and what it looks like and the effect that it has on them. We may don't need to know what George Washington Carver did. We may don't need to know what happened in history. We need to talk to our kids about living now. When they get to school in the morning, should be programs there to talk to them about like Dr. Lee said, how was your morning? How was you, I mean, anything happen? Let them have a place to tone down, and to have. We always want to get into that school system and bring out stories.
Well, you know, this leads to Baltimore City schools. We need to get with the CEO. I'm sure Doc has, but just to institute love in the school, in the schools, and to have conversations. Let the children know that we care, because it's so important. And let me just ask Dr. Humphrey. Dr. Humphrey, as Dr. Reverend Humphrey, what do you think the churches and the mosques need to do to help our children?
Well, I'm glad you asked me that, because that was going to be my next comment.
I know. I'm smart.
First of all, this is no personal indictment on the churches. A lot of our churches have failed us. You know, at one point, in African American communities, the churches were the strongest institutions in the world.
That's true. That's true.
And when I had to go, come along and went to school and wanted to go to college, my parents couldn't afford it. The pastor, he passed the plate. And the thing of it is that when people come into church that's traumatized, a lot of the pastors don't even know how to deal with it. And people will hold things in, and they will only release it and talk to people who understand.
Right.
And you know, Major Harper, we have a lot in common, because she has something personal happened with her son that she shares her story. Sister Daphne, Sister Straba, and me knowing Dr. Lee for over 25 years or more. The only way that we can attempt to get a handle on this is because I did a research, and I argued with some of my professors. I said, this is a genetic problem.
Wow.
And they say, no, it's not a genetic problem, because, you know, I'm old school. You know, our ancestors used to say, be careful who you have your children by, because what's in the blood you can't change. If you marry a crackhead, you're going to have a crackhead baby, you know.
Yes.
So it's a generational thing. But it's an environmental thing. The environment dictates to what happens in the community. I've been in this neighborhood all my life. I was here when they cleaned up the Black Gorilla family. They ain't bothered me. Most of those kids, you know, I raised them. But what's bothering me now, and I don't want to walk away from this recording not following up, is that people that can make a change, they're afraid.
Yeah. You know,
They're afraid.
I have to say this. God has not given us the spirit of fear,
But power,
of
love, and sound mind.
power,
Yeah.
sound mind.
Right.
So I'll say to you out there, don't be afraid. Stand up. And if you're a Christian, you have some power. If my people, which are called by my name, would humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven, I will heal the lands and forgive their sins. So we have to, even in the church world, who have power, we need to come together prayerfully. I'm asking you to pray 12 noon and 12 midnight for the rest of this year. 12 noon and 12 midnight. I'm proclaiming that declaration because God can change the conditions. And if we fail to do that, then we fail all.
But I just want to say this. Do you know why a lot of young people won't come to church?
No, please tell me why.
Well, a lot of the times we have, as Christians, we have allowed the ways of the world to come into church.
Very true.
So I always tell a lot of young people that if you see me acting any other character than who I am, I don't want you to respect me. So, I mean, we see, and I'm not, God knows, I'm not pointing a finger at no other pastors, because we all fall short and miss the mark. But I'm saying you can't be a pastor on Mondays and Tuesdays and then going in the club and the young people see you, because once you lose their respect, they don't want to hear nothing you have to say. My background is in juvenile justice. I worked in, juvenile service, Charles Hickey School, Cheltenham, Victor Cullen. And I told you I wrote a book called Black Youth in the Juvenile Justice System. Yeah. And I'll make sure you get a copy before you leave. But that's what's up.
Can I say something about the church?
Yes, please do.
So, having been a member of the same church where I was born, and I have been for my whole life, I think that that is the foundation.
Absolutely.
To me. For me personally, that has made all the difference, and for my children.
There's an old saying, that's where you cut your teeth at.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And even though I know what Dr. King would call the vicissitudes of life exist, I'm going to go old school. For nothing shall be impossible with the Lord.
That's right.
And I'm just going to hold on to that little piece right there.
Yeah.
Okay? So I believe in the church. That's where my soul is anchored.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, as a law enforcement person, what message would you give to young people that are out there murdering and doing things of that nature?
We coming for you.
Wow.
Simple as that.
This is just simple as that. We're coming for you. It's just, yeah, it's that simple.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brother Holmes, I want to share why just
Sure.
Major heads up, Mike. When I met Major Tav Harper, it makes a difference when you're in law enforcement and you're saved. You're a Christian.
Right.
You know, the minute I met her, I mean, her talk was different. She didn't act like, the rest. I
I
mean,
understand.
not putting nobody on blast, but I know she can get down like that if she have to. But I mean, she's always humble and try to go to Christ right now, But if not, like she said, she's coming after.
But more than that, just coming after them, can you give a word to them so to prevent them from going in that road?
Right. So, what you want to do is to, like you said, turn from your ways. You don't want to go down that path because the right way is to strive to live upright.
True.
And to try to do the right thing. Because there are all types of vices out there that will try to convince you to do things otherwise. And things look very enticing, but the fact of the matter is that road will lead you one or two places, either in jail or in the grave.
Wow.
So, getting a job, it may take you a little bit longer to acquire some things.
That's right.
But that's a safe way of
Only
getting
what you
it.
do for Christ will
It's
last.
only what you do.
Simple
That's
as
it.
that.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. This mother here has been sitting here, and I've been watching her. She's still in pain. She didn't tell me she was in pain, but I see the pain.
Feel it.
And she want to speak to you from her heart today. Take your time.
My name is Dorothy Scriber. I'm a mom of a murdered son, 2010. I just want to say to the young people that we got to stop this. I can go around the service and speak on the behalf of moms of murdered sons and daughters, but when I have to speak about my child, I get butterflies in my stomach.
Wow. So sad.
Because it's real. Pain that I can never explain. I raised my sons to do right. I raised my sons to be successful in life, as well as I raised my daughter, because they come from a successful family. Mother as a nurse. Father is a plumber, who's my husband. So, what I'm asking these moms to step out, fight for your sons and your daughters,
Yes.
because we are hurting. Don't wait until that knock hit your door that you want to find moms of murdered sons and daughters and keep extending this circle. We want to stop this violence.
Yes.
Stop this killing. That word murder is no other meaning than murder. I believe, as the doctor was speaking, a lot of our youth are mentally sick.
Wow, yes.
They have so much anger in them. And the first thing they want to do is put our babies away. All they hear what jail is about, but they don't even know it's a playground. They don't get the help that they actually need to survive out here. Our black young men, they're just ready to explode.
Yeah, true.
And they're just out here just doing everything and anything just to get it off their chest. And I was raised under my parents as ministers. Charity begins at home.
Yes, that's right.
And raise your child up to a broad. But every child that get murdered on that street is not a bad child.
That's true.
But that's how they address our children. And the first thing they run to is, let me see if they got a record. So once they put that out there, they turn the other cheek. Oh, he or she deserved what they got. No one have a right to take another life.
The Bible says,
in your own hand.
Kill.
Right. And I say to you all, I, as a mom, is sick and tired of this killing. And I ain't going nowhere. Moms are not going anywhere. We're going to walk these streets. We're going to fight. We're going to take our community back. We're going to take our neighborhood back because we are tired of this violence out here with you all young black men and women. And then when the officers get you, then you want to holler mine.
Too late.
It's just too late. And watch the company that you keep.
That's right. Tell them.
You think they're your friends? And I spoke on a young man's funeral today. And I seen that young man ride up and down the street all day long. And when nighttime fall, this young man got killed. Unbelievable. And every murder that happened to our young men and women, somebody knows about it.
That's right.
That's true.
And the only way you're going to get out and speak about it, you want to wait for the knock to hit your door, and then you want to get out, and you want somebody to give you some answers about, do you know who killed my son or my daughter? But we have a lot of people that are walking around that know.
That's right. That's right.
Who killed my son, Daphne's son, and all moms. Because one thing about them streets, they run their mouth. A coward, he can't hold water.
That's right.
Because he thought he'd done something. But he did. He destroyed my life and my family's life, my son's children's life.
Wow. That's right. And you know, let me add that is so true. They not only killed that person, but that person who they killed is a family is affected, their friends, their girlfriends, their children. A lot of people hurt. You do a lot of damage. And it's nothing to be proud about, especially when you go to court and you do life in jail. Again, nobody wins. But I will say to you that we care and we love you. I know nobody haven't told you they love you in a while. I understand, and you're angry and you're bitter and you're turning to drugs because you just don't care. But no, there's another way.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that Christ is the answer.
Yes.
I beg you to please go to some church. Get involved.
Yes.
Go to the mosque. Get involved. Minister Carlos would love to have you. Mosque number 6 on Liberty Heights. I'm telling you, you all have to get involved. Be a part of something. Be a part of a team. It'll make a difference. So you'll know then you have somebody to care about you and love you and that will support you. Please, please make a change in your life. Don't hurt these mothers anymore. Don't hurt your mother, because when you do murders and you go to jail, it's not good. Your family hurts. They miss you. You can't be a help to your children. Think before you do something. Be a critical thinker. Please, don't go off on your emotions. Be strong. Be strong with the Lord. I'm telling you, you can change. Because I'm sure you don't like what you just heard from these moms. You know, they in pain. Yeah, you heard them. But what's the brag about that?
Yeah. May I say something?
Please say.
I want to say this to Daphne. When my son got killed, Daphne reached out. She was the first one reached out to me. And Daphne helped a lot of moms. A lot of moms. And coming from out of Harford County, just to open her arms up to say, you're not the only mom.
Daphne, you have a beautiful heart.
Yes, she do.
Yeah.
And I also want to thank you all for allowing we all to come here to share our story and our pain.
Yes, yes.
Because I live with it every day.
Yes. Well, you know, I've been wanting to interview the moms since last year. So believe me, I hurt when you hurt. When I hear murders, I hurt. It hurts me. I just don't say, oh, well, no, it hurts. Whether you're black or white, or Chinese, Korean, it hurts.
Yes.
Because I understand that if that person's soul is not right, they're going to hell. And if you get shot and murdered, you're going to hell. I don't want no man to go to hell. I wish that we all would go to heaven, but on God's time, not from violence.
Right. You don't want that blood on your hands.
Absolutely. Right. So that's why I say, you know, I just feel right now, Dr. Bunley, Dr. Bunley, Doc, will you just say a prayer for the young people?
Eternal God, we ask you, Lord, to touch these young people. We know that you are a mind regulator and a heart fixer. And let them know that they're living in sin. We don't have to remind them and try to shove religion down their throat. Yes. But let them know that if you love Jesus, Jesus is love. And you are the only one that can help them. Crack can't do it, dope can't do it, coke can't do it. Only what you do for Christ will last.
Yes.
And Father, you love us all because you gave us your only begotten Son, and his name is Jesus. And if Jesus can reach down in the gutter and pick you up in spite of whatever you've done, and when he forgive you of your sins, you are washed clean and your sins are cast into the sea of forgiveness.
That's right.
So Lord, we just ask you this. We know that this world can't take too much of this. And we know that you're on your way back. Amen. And you're looking for a church without a spot or wrinkle. And Father, we just ask you to give these young men a different perspective on life. And let them know when everyone else failed and everyone else give up on them, that you still love them. Through Jesus Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Hey, Doc, would you appeal to organizations that you're not associated with to become a part of your organization so that this can grow, and give you information, please?
Well, I think not necessarily my organization. I think people have places where they work, they have places where they worship, they have places where they live. Mm-hmm. I think they just need to look around first in their own neighborhoods and communities, people they know. How can they help?
Okay.
Because almost everybody's been affected by a murder in Baltimore City.
True.
They don't have to go search very far to find somebody. It's 2 houses down, it's 3 houses down, it's somebody in their congregation. And I think it's just easier for people to go out and reach out to people who they know a little bit about. Mm-hmm. But also for employers, what are they doing to support their families when this happens?
Yeah.
What kind of leave do they have? What kind of support do they have?
Okay.
What kind of outreach? You know, some of the congregations that may have little resources, you know, there's a lot of these people, these young people get murdered. There's not a burial, policy for them. Nobody's been saving up for that.
That's right.
And a lot of the families are not that affluent. I mean, how do we get these resources to the families that are, you know, reaching out to congregations, across the congregations, they may be able to make those linkages. So I think it's less important to, you know, to worry about what's happening in the Johns Hopkins or I'm doing, but just thinking about who is it you can help.
That's
what
strong.
can you be doing? Because it's in your neighborhood. It's people you know.
That's strong, Doc. All right. Sister Daphne, again, your heart is beautiful, and I personally hate to see your pain. But your pain, God has allowed to help so many others.
Yes.
You were chosen by God because had not it been for you, she may not have survived. Sanji may not have survived, and other mothers. So your pain, God knows He allowed that to happen. It's not a great thing when, you know, it comes to you to say God allowed my son to be murdered, but certainly He will move in a special way for you.
Yeah.
But you have made a difference in so many mothers' lives. Because if you didn't do that comforting, she may be gone. She may have gone mad.
Yes.
You know, she may have picked up a gun to retaliate. So you had to spread God's love.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's strong, but it's true. And I hate to see all these murders because it hurts. And what's happening in today's society, people are becoming numb to it because it's such a current event.
Yes.
But it's wrong.
Yes.
And you know, God wants to make a difference. That's why I said we all have to pray 12 noon, 12 midnight until the end of the year, because God's got to help. Doctor?
I just want to say to Sister Daphne, I met Sister Daphne a couple years ago. Sister Daphne, she invited me to come to a meeting at Pastor Cruz Church, who's a good friend of mine. I used to pastor church around the corner, Greater Bethesda Missionary Baptist Church on Fulton and Walbrook. And when something happened, Sister Daphne called me, or I get the word from somebody from Moms. And when I went to the visual for the young lady, what was her name?
Charlie Wilson.
Yeah, I talked to.
that was so
I talked
sad.
to the mother. I talked to the lady that adopted her, and we were talking, and she knew too much about my family, and she was asking me, you know, who was in my family, and come to find out, we related.
Wow.
So, you know, through Sister Daphne, and what I want to do, I'm not going to let Dr. Leaf get away, because you have the end road that we can do some things, you know, from the law enforcement perspective. I mean, any road that you need me to go, I mean, I pick up the telephone, call Sister Daphne, she get the moms together, and, you know, Dr. Leaf always say to me, you know, you just keep it going.
Yeah.
So I want to say to
Thank you,
Sister
Doc.
Straba, if you had the funding to make a difference, what would you do?
If God will bless me with some good funds, I will open every rec. I will open up a center 24 hours that I can hire in every department that a child needs to be served in.
Right.
A safe haven spot where no matter what's going on with a young child.
I asked you that question because, Dr. Leaf, we had the PAL centers when Rick Hayes was here. So, you know, maybe we can talk to the officials and look into that.
Yes.
What we, again, Dr. Humphrey, that was great. The city and the state needs to get involved, and understand that these children need activity as well as education,
Yes.
and as well as in the schools. Yes, but those recs are so important.
Yes. And I want to say something before you close out. I'm a voter. And all the ones that I put in your chair, you need to get out and support us. Instead of you're getting a good pay, but you're not supporting our city enough. So I'm asking all the ones that's sitting in that high class chair to come out from your office and walk and stand with us, moms against murderers, and the organization Moms of Murdered Sons and Daughters. Please help us. We need your support.
Doctor, want to give closing remarks?
Well, first I want to thank you for doing this and helping getting the message out.
Sure.
And I think, again, also back to there's a lot of hurting young folks out there, and so they need to find somebody they can reach out to.
That's right.
Somebody in their neighborhood, maybe an uncle or a cousin who can sort of help them, because I don't believe that this is they don't want to really murder somebody.
Right.
I mean, now they may not have a lot of impulse control, they may not make good decisions, but they're not intentionally wanting to go out and kill people, which means back, whether it's recreation, I mean, we need to provide alternatives as a
That's
city.
right.
We need
That's
to be
right.
able to get them back into an education or an employment. One of the things that actually Johns Hopkins has done is hired 350 ex-offenders, but recognizing that if the larger institutions don't hire these people, who's going to hire them?
Right,
And if
that's right.
And if people don't have a job, what's going to happen in the neighborhood in which these hospitals and other places are located?
Exactly, yeah.
So again, back to we all can do something. We just need to think about what is it you can do, and then please do it.
Okay. Daphne, you want to closing remarks?
Yes. On behalf of Mothers of Murdered Sons and Daughters United Incorporated, our vision is to heal the moms who have been impacted by senseless violence, so they can go back to their homes and their community with a sense of well-being, and to say we're not going to let this happen anymore. And our goal is to try to talk to every youth that we can, and we make good on that promise. We go places where nobody wants to go. We make sure that we interact with these youth. We make sure they know our stories. And the pain that comes from them kids, so many of them cry to us, and I know they're in gangs, and they be say, it's no way out for me. Nobody don't care about me. People do care about you, and people do love you. I drive hundreds of miles a week to get to you, just to make sure that you're making a good decision. I stop where I see stuff. I talk to you. We share our stories. It's so important that you hear from us. If you cannot provide finances, anything, which every organization needs finances, but that is not the goals of the mind. Our goal is to heal and take back our community and our children. You have to be proactive in your community. And we need the young people to step forward. These are your friends that are dying. This is your generation, your future. You need to stand up and take charge over your friends. You cannot, when you're with your friends and you know that something is going to happen, you need to talk them down out of it.
Right.
You need to get yourself away from it, because it's going to impact you one way or the other. And to the elected officials and to the governor and everyone that's hearing our voices, don't shut the grassroots organizations out. We're in a war in our communities, and we we are feet on the ground in a war. Don't shut us out. Don't overlook us. We have given the greatest gift that God gave us, our children. Returned them back to society, their spirit, to say, we still love you and we still care about you, no matter what you have done. But from this point on, you are knowledgeable and you know the consequences of your behavior.
Sister Daphne.
Yes, Chief.
Can you also give your information in case someone wants to contact you?
Yes. We have a website, Mothers of Murdered Sons and Daughters United Incorporated. Also, we meet the second Sunday of every month at St. John's Alpha and Omega Church, 1950 West North Avenue at 3 o'clock. And that meeting is open to the community. And our goal is that the community will come in and have a voice. They need to have a voice where they can come share, or we try to have people in there if they have a wayward kid or a wayward daughter or something's not going on, that we can send them to places that we know that they can get the help. A lot of people are shameful And I want to talk, that door is open to everyone in that community from anywhere to please come in and share your story. My cell number is 443-807-0152, and you can call that number.
You want to give it again? It was kind of fast.
Okay, so St. John's Alpha and Omega Church, 1950 West North Avenue. That's right off of North and Payson Street. Also on Tuesday nights, we have a mom's house where we can come. We call it like the NA and the AA for moms to come in and share their stories and for healing. And that's 1911 North Payson Street. And that's every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Someone's there, and that's where we come share and we heal.
I give you the number again.
And the number again, 443-807-0152. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Will you close the remarks?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting me.
Sure.
I'd just like to say to the moms, I'm sorry for your loss, but I'm just encouraged by your courage.
All right.
And anything that I can do from my position, just let me know. If you want to come and talk to our in-service class or if it's anything I can do, just let me know. We're here. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Dr. Humphrey.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for caring. This man loves the community. He loves people. And I'm sure he hates to bring bad news. He's tired of it. You want to close your remark?
I just want to say that the parents know that their children are murderers.
Mm-hmm.
You won't be allowed to protect them. You gotta, at some point, you gotta give them up.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
if you don't give them up, as Major Harper said, they coming after you. And we can't protect. My grandfather used to always say, you can't protect a liar.
That's right.
And, if you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill. So what I want to do is we already formed the coalition that Sister Daphne knows that, and everybody ain't feeling this. We understand that. Mm-hmm. But when they want me to go, we'll show up and, but we understand that.
Dr. Humphrey, do you have a contact number?
Yes, sir. You can always reach me at 443-418-8898, Baltimore Trauma Response Team. I don't mean to sound like the white petty, but if you need me, call me, and I will respond. 443-418-8898. I'm sorry.
I want to say that you see here, people care about you. Baltimore cares. Baltimore cares. And I tell you, moms care, Dr. Humphrey cares.
And thank you, Brother Holmes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I care because I'm so tired of the murders. I'm tired of them dying and you spending your life in jail. Wake up, like I said, find a local church. My church is Empowerment Temple. I welcome you to come there. I welcome you as well to the mosque, number 6 on Garrison and Liberty Heights. Get with a group. I tell you, where real men are. They will protect you, they will love on you, educate you, and be a friend to you. So there's help. Again, don't be cut. I forgot the word I want to use. Oh God, what did I say?
With your work undone.
Well, that wasn't it. No, it was it'll come to me.
Don't be a fighter.
Well, okay, I'll figure something. Don't be weak. Be strong. Be a critical thinker. Because being a critical thinker, you won't get in trouble. God bless you. I love you. Stay strong. Peace. And thank you. Thank you all.